Now that we've done some work brightening the shadows around the eyes, I want to continue to work on the eyes. I want to do a little bit more cleanup work here. And I also want to add a little bit more of a visual interest. So I'll go ahead and click on the new layer icon. I'm not even going to name the layer. I'm going to grab my clone stamp tool. With the clone stamp tool, I'll use that blend mode of light and perhaps a little bit higher opacity. I'm just going to work on this upper edge of the eyebrow. And all I'm looking to do is just shape that eyebrow a little bit because I'm noticing that it's a little bit too much there. I want to add a little bit more shape to that area. So again, a small little adjustment, but nonetheless kind of an important one. Just adding to the overall look of this image. And I'll go ahead and shape this down here as well. It's going to be small, but here's our before and after. Just kind of building that out a little bit more. Let's work on the other side as well, just trying to get that same type of look over here and then remove any little eyebrows that we don't want to have in the mix. And just try to have a nice, clean, bright area there. Okay, well that's looking nice. All right, well what about the eyes themselves? Well, I want to do some work to the eyes. So I'm going to merge to top. Press Shift, Option, Command E on a Mac, Shift, Alt, Control E on Windows. And I am going to name this one Detail, just so I know to go to that layer. This is my eye detail layer. Zoom in on this layer. I'm going to go to Filter. I'm going to choose Sharpen and then Smart Sharpen. And on Smart Sharpen, what I'm going to do is turn More Accurate on. And I'm going to increase my amount and my radius, really just focusing in on the eyes here. I want to add a little bit more kind of crispness to this area of the image. Now this is affecting everything, which isn't necessarily very good, but I want to just bring in a touch more to the eyes. It's going to look too sharp, and that looks about good there. Click OK. Then press Option or Alt, click on the Add Layer Mask icon. We're going to grab our brush. We'll paint with a little bit lower opacity, something less than 100. We're just going to start to paint around the edge of the eye here, really just bringing in a little bit more of that visual snap to that area of the image. All right, next, I also want to darken the edges of the eye. To do that, I'll go ahead and click on the adjustment layer icon, choose curves. I'm just going to create a little bit of a darkening curve here. And then invert this, Command or Control I, grab my brush tool, and we're going to go ahead and paint with white with a real small brush here. We're just going to look to paint along the edge of these eyes here. What this will do is it will create a little bit more definition. And we want to be careful to try to paint so it looks pretty consistent. And in my case, my brush strokes are a little bit too harsh. You can kind of tell. Even though I'm using a Wacom tablet, what's happening is as I'm doing this, they're just a little bit too defined. But I'll go back and soften those up in a minute. For now, I just want to try to get some of the darkening look in. And I think that's doing okay. Next thing I need to do is click on my mask and then feather this and increase this significantly. So that softens it up. Here's before and then after. Okay, great. Well, next thing, so we want to work on the eyes with another curves adjustment. So click on the adjustment layer icon, choose curves. Go ahead and make an adjustment, say brighten it up, or go into the red cyan channel and add a little bit of cyan perhaps, or the green magenta, add a little bit of green, or something along those lines. And here, as we make these adjustments, we're really just looking at the image and looking at how it affects the eyes. It's affecting everything, but we're just thinking, what could I paint into the eyes that might look good? Well, next, invert your mask, Command I. Grab your brush tool. And here again, we're painting with a little bit of a lower opacity, but we're just going to start to bring in some of that color. And we can bring it in exactly where we want it, maybe around the outer edge of the eye. That could be kind of fun. And so we'll just bring this in. And we have a little bit more of this brightened kind of green glowing eyes. And if this is too strong, we can go back and modify our curve, or we can always simply lower the opacity of the layer. Here we have that before and after. And again, that looks kind of surreal, but it's the look that I'm going for here. I'm going to make some stronger adjustments because I'm kind of going for this idealized beauty type of aesthetic. Now, once you've done that, another thing that you can do is start to experiment with copying the layer and changing its blending mode. Let me show you what I mean. I'll press Command J. Now it's way over the top. But if I change this blending mode, say to soft light or to screen, what it can do sometimes is it can add that color, but it adds that color with contrast. You can see the difference. There it is on soft light. There it is on normal. So that soft light gives it this really interesting, deeper look. The underlying layer is our color, so what we can then do is we can mix and match these. We can lower the opacity of these two layers together in order to come up with a pretty interesting look where we're controlling contrast and color. Another thing that can be fun to do is to try that screen blend mode, which gives you that really bright, kind of vibrant look. You can also create multiple layers, one with soft light, one with screen. You get the idea. What you can do is start to play with these, or for that matter, simply modify your curves adjustments. So you could go back to one of your curves adjustments and say, I want deeper contrast, or I want it to be brighter. You can modify your points and see where it's going to look best for your image and for the vision for the photograph. Well, as I mentioned, my vision here is to go a little bit more over the top. So I've done that. I've kind of pushed things a little bit further than I normally would have. Let's take a look at these layers. Here we can see these different eyes that we've done here. And here's that before and then after, really bringing out the vibrance of those colors. All right, well, now that we've done all this work, what we probably want to do is organize our layers a little bit, and we'll do that in the next movie.